I'm Amber. Welcome to Meet RX Success Story Podcast. And today we have Amy with us. Hi, Amy. How are you?
Hi, Amber. Hi, everyone. I'm doing well. Thank you so much.
Great. So I have a few questions I'd like to ask you. The first one is, before you started Carnivore, can you give us a little idea of what your health was like? Like, did you have any issues, those kind of things? If you could go through each one and kind of let us know what was going on in your life, that would be really great.
Sure. So before I started Carnivore, I had just recently had a hysterectomy prior to that. So that compounded some of these other health issues that I'm going to talk about. But the main issues that I had were fibromyalgia. And, if you're not familiar with fibromyalgia, that included debilitating fatigue, a lot of pain, a lot of, they call them, I forget what they're called, but the tender spots. And I had like these tender spots and, I was just a lot of muscular aching and just, I wasn't able to function. It was just, getting worse and worse and worse, where my, ability to go and do things and be physical was just getting worse. And then another symptom of fibromyalgia is like IBS type symptoms. So, I would go back and forth with constipation and diarrhea. So I had like both, IBC, D and D. And so that was like the main one. But then I also had adult onset asthma that started in 2015. And so I was taking a maintenance medication as well as a rescue inhaler daily. I was working with my pulmonologist, on medications and trying to get off of the rescue inhaler because he wasn't happy that I was taking that daily. But, I was in that process of figuring that out when I went on Carnivore. And then another thing that plagued me my whole life was upper respiratory infections. So I was constantly sick. I just thought I had like a weak constitution. I had pneumonia multiple times in my life. And if anyone ever had a cold, any kind of sickness, I caught it and I got it worse than they did. And then the last thing that was, it was something that I found out after I went Carnivore that went away that I just realized that I had, was I had these little cherry red angiomas, I think is how you say it. These little red bumps, like little blood blisters all over my body. And my, other people in my family have them. So I just said, oh, it's just hereditary. It's like, that's just, and as I get older, I'm going to have more and more of them. And, they itched and they got bigger and I had some on my head and, I was burning them off. Like, don't tell my dermatologist, but it was, it's like, I got to get this off of my face. So that was the majority of the health issues that I had prior to Carnivore.
Wow, thank you so much. So how did you implement the diet? And did you have any issues during the transition?
Yeah, so I first went keto after the hysterectomy. I gained 10 to 15 pounds, and I was on keto and for about, I think, a month, and I went to a doctor, and that doctor mentioned Carnivore at the visit. And my first thought was, who the heck would do that? But of course, I went home and started researching it, and I saw that people were healing health conditions on this, and asthma was one of them. And so I stayed on keto for about 3 months, and I still was taking all of my asthma medication. That wasn't getting better. And so I said, you know what, I'm just going to try it. I'm going to try this Carnivore thing for 30 days. And once I started Carnivore, I don't know how long I took the asthma med after I took Carnivore, maybe a week, 2 weeks. But then I noticed, like, oh, I'm not waking up short of breath. Like, let me not take it today. So, we can get into that later. But that, so I just started with eating like ribeyes. And, I was, when he said Carnivore, I started researching. So first thing I found was, of course, Sean Baker. And I'm like, okay, well, Sean Baker's eating ribeyes every day. That'll be good for me too. So I started out just eating ribeyes, occasionally other kinds of steak, sometimes hamburger. In the beginning, that was basically all I ate for months and months. You know, as time went on, I started adding more things like pork belly, bacon. Occasionally I'll have liver. I happen to be one of those people that like it. I had liver when I was a child, and I like the taste of it. You know, it's funny. I think it's like, I don't know, people used to say cilantro, like some people had said it tastes like soap, and some people liked it. So it's like, I think it's like a genetic thing. I have the same theory about liver, that some people it's just, you know, that doesn't work for them. But for me, I like liver, and I'll have it every now and then. And, you know, it's not a matter of, I think I need it for any kind of nutrients or anything like that. I just like it, and it's pretty cheap. And, you know, ribeyes do get expensive after a while. And so, you know, I've been carnivore it'll be 16 months in 2 days. And, you know, that's still basically what I eat. So I did in the beginning, I can't remember if I started out with dairy, but I've had dairy issues for a long time. You know, I've known that I have a problem with dairy for a long time. So I put it in, take it out, put it in, take it out. And so I have put it back in carnivore and taken it out a couple of times. I haven't had dairy in probably about 6 months now, just because when I have dairy, I tend to hold on to weight, or I'll gain weight. I start to have little breakouts on my chin. I just turned 50. I don't think I should be having breakouts anymore. So, you know, I just notice I don't feel as well when I eat dairy. So for me, red meat, I love red meat. Occasionally I'll have, very, very occasionally I'll have seafood, but mostly red meat and pork at the basis of my diet.
Thank you. Okay, now, so this is my favorite part now. How has your health changed since implementing carnivore? Tell me all about that.
Yeah, you know, it's been a miracle. So, you know, I haven't had a fibromyalgia flare, not one symptom, not the fatigue, not the muscle pain, not the joint pain, not the IBS. Well, I think when that's one thing I didn't mention about when I transitioned to carnivore was I did have some issues with diarrhea and constipation intermittently. That took a good amount of time, probably up to 6 months, before I settled down. And now there's no problems at all there. But I don't think I would consider that part of the fibromyalgia. I think it was a transition to carnivore. And other than that, you know, transitioning to carnivore, I really didn't have a whole lot of problems. But, you know, so my fibromyalgia gone, you know, like as far as I know, I can't, you know, I don't want to jinx myself or anything like that, but in 16 months, I haven't had a flare. I stopped taking those asthma meds like a week or two into carnivore. I haven't taken an asthma medication since. I saw my pulmonologist a few months ago, told him about the diet, told him that I'm not taking meds. So he said, I'll see you in 1 year. We'll do a full workup, you know, do the breathing test and all of that. And if you're fine, then I'm going to dismiss you as a patient. So that'll be later this year. Hopefully I'll be dismissed as, you know, an asthma patient. And then the other thing I mentioned was the hematomas or the angiomas. That was the thing my husband noticed. Like he said, have you been burning them off of your back? And I said, no. Like, why? He goes, they're just gone. Like, they're gone, you know. And then I noticed I had some on my legs. I looked down and I said, they just disappeared. Like, they just went away. And, you know, I still have a couple. I can't see any right now, but but most of them, they just left. And that was within the first year. Like, it just, and that just kind of blew my mind. It wasn't something I was expecting. And like I said, I always said, oh, it's just hereditary. And now I was a person that has not eaten sugar or flour in almost 20 years. So it wasn't, but I was eating, you know, fruit and that kind of stuff. But, you know, I was eating, quote unquote, I was eating a lot healthier than the, you know, standard American diet. So it's still, you know, that still kind of amazes me that just going carnivore did that. Like, you know, even the plant foods that I was eating was still aggravating my body somehow. And I've had one minor cold in 16 months. Now that I'm really afraid. I need to find some wood here and knock on, but I haven't been sick. Like that's just not me. I thought that was what I was, that was my destiny. That was my fate. Like I was just going to be, I've always thought like I'm going to be as healthy as I can, but I'm not going to, enjoy my experience as an elderly person. I'm probably going to die young because I just have this weak constitution. And that's what I was always told, you have a weak constitution. And I don't have a weak constitution anymore. I'm healthy, I'm strong, I'm vibrant, I lift weights, I run. So that's just amazing to me. That's, and I really wanted to get rid of the asthma. Like that was the one thing when I switched from keto to carnivore, I said, let me just see if it'll help with asthma. I had no idea I was going to do all this other stuff. And the biggest thing though, was that it really helped with was, so I have a history of compulsive eating. I've been in recovery for compulsive eating for, 18, 20 years. So when I was, all those years when I was not eating flour and sugar, I was also pretty much weighing and measuring my foods because I was told and taught that I can't control the amount of food that I eat once I start. And when I started carnivore and I was eating and I was like, oh, wow, I started to notice that I was either just putting my fork down naturally before the food was gone, or I was like, the food was not gone on my plate and I was going, I can't eat anymore. And I was like, who am I? Like, I'm the type of person, I was 140 pounds heavier than I am right now, so I was, I was obese. And, even when I was in recovery from my food addiction, I could still eat a lot, I could eat more than what my body needed. And so that's why I weighed and measured my food. But in carnivore, it's just like, I can't do that anymore. So I was like, I was taught that my satiety signals were broken. I still think they might be not 100%. Like I can still probably eat more than I should, but I can't eat the way that I did before. Like, and I know when I'm full, and I find myself putting the fork down, and all of a sudden, food's not interesting to me anymore. I'm doing something else, and my plate is still have food on it, and that is just. I wasn't expecting that either. So for me, carnivore has been like an absolute miracle.
Okay, are we back?
Uh-oh, did you miss half of that?
That was so, yes, nuts. But we could probably cut that off good enough. That was really good. Okay, I'm going to just go ahead and go into the ending part, and then we'll just try to clip out that part that was frozen or whatever, but that was really good.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Amy, for that. Seriously, you gave me goosebumps when you talked about the fibromyalgia being gone. I know that's such a huge issue, and my mother has it, who lives with me, and I have two really good friends who have it really, really severe, a case of that. So that is so huge, as well as, of course, all the other things you talked about. That was really amazing. Thank you so much for sharing your story with us. I really appreciate it.
Oh, you're so welcome. Thank you so much for asking me. It's been my honor.